Hello, this is Kyle here. I've got another video for you today. Today I'm going to be talking about, every culture has a story about a flood happening. And I pretty much have done some research and have been able to explain that, I think, pretty well. And I have this here, which will fill you in with some information. Every culture has a flood story, and it's a story because it happened. Now, things in the past were passed down through oral tradition and not written down because they would lose their context, I believe, because if you write things down, who's to say this person meant this when they really meant this, and you interpret it in a total different way. But with oral tradition, there's no question there. Now, here is a little graph. It's a rough drawing of a graph, and you see you have the temperature in Celsius. So that is that pretty much means that temperatures in the past were a lot colder than what they are now. And what happened with the first, see the 1A spike, that's meltwater pulse 1A. That happened, let's see, there were two impacts, I'm assuming from a comet or an asteroid or something from outer space hit the Earth, and the 1A, it hit Greenland, and it hit land, so that means it kicked up a bunch of dust and dirt and stuff put into the atmosphere, kind of like a nuclear winter almost, and that's why the temperatures dropped so quickly, because naturally the Earth was coming out of an ice age and coming into a warm period. And you can see it shot right back down into that ice age temperature. And that's because of all that dirt and dust it kicked up into the air and whatever else. But it's called the Hiawatha Crater. It hit Greenland. And then the 1B comes along. That's the second impact. That one hit the water somewhere. There's been said to have been fragments of this thing scattered from Europe into the Middle East. But this thing hit the water because the temperatures did not cool down as they had previously. And this is in thousands of years BC, or thousands of years, this graph. So we see that the temperatures go up and they stay up. And now they've kind of teetered off to where they are now today. But so now North America, let's see, before all this happened, it was under 2 miles of ice. So that's a little over 10,000 feet, 11,000 feet around there. That's a lot of ice to melt that quickly. And that's how all the woolly mammoths got killed. There's a bunch of other animals in North America that went extinct when this happened. Humans survived it, of course. But I also think that this is coincided with the sinking of Atlantis, because Plato spoke about Atlantis. He called it when he wrote about it, he wrote about the Pillars of Heracles, which was the Strait of Gibraltar, and then he said you would cross a body of water, there'd be some islands, and then there was the actual Atlantis. and then the ocean, and then North America. Now, so all this ice melts. Where does it go? The sea level rises 400 feet. Now, as far as the location of Atlantis, I believe it is around the area of the Azores Islands. They're off Portugal. It's very beautiful there, if you look at pictures. It is off Portugal, and all of that sea level rose. So if sea level lowered itself 400 feet, and we had a bunch of glaciers forming again in other locations, then we'll be able to find a lot of interesting stuff. Because we don't know what Atlantis was like, or what they could have had, or anything like that. And let's see, let's see what I've got here. Now, there's also the question of Antarctica that I will bring up, because human history is very interesting. We don't really know much past 8,000 to 10,000 years ago. We don't know anything really. We're just finding this stuff out. There's people called the Denisovans. They're separate from Neanderthal and Cro-Magnon, which most humans are mostly Cro-Magnon. Some people are maybe like a couple percent Neanderthal and Denisovan too, around the South Pacific and stuff. But these Denisovans, they had a torque. It's like a bracelet, but it doesn't fit around your wrist the entire way, so it's like 3/4 of a full bracelet. And they found this bracelet. It's stone, and scientists studied the drilling techniques. The drilling techniques that were used, it was a drill that was stationary, and it was drilled at an extremely high speed. Now, this bracelet they were suspecting 40 to 50,000 years old. These people weren't even supposed to have that technology back then. So, I think that human history is just a cycle of things happening. Either we're wiping each other out, or we get wiped out by Mother Nature, or whatever else it could possibly, disease, whatever, I don't know. It's just a series of us getting wiped out, and then rebuilding, and then forgetting that. Because the flood story, I think it's got to be real, because there's no way every culture has this story without it not existing. It just doesn't happen like that. But that's my brief video for today, and why it's important to question our history, because I know this stuff wasn't taught in history class to me, and I find it super interesting. But Antarctica, though, who knows how long that's been frozen? Maybe ever since this stuff happened. So, who knows what's under that ice, and what is under the water around the Azores Islands. It'll be really interesting to find all that stuff out, because there's got to be some interesting stuff in both those locations. That's my video for today, though. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you enjoyed this content, then subscribe. I will see you later. Bye-bye.